You should always have a mentee that you're involved with in a curriculum, and you should have one on deck. Stanley Marcus Jr. told me this years ago. He was my mentor at broadcast.com. He offered to be Mark's mentor. For whatever reason, Mark didn't respond quick enough, so I jumped in because Mr. Marcus was a legend in Dallas. He wasn't just a retail innovator. He was one of those people that was a lifelong learning master, and he predicted a lot of technologies. And in his latter years, after he stepped down at Niemann Marcus, he consulted with companies like Virgin or even like the Smart Car program at Mercedes, really helping them think ahead of the curve. One of the things he explained to me is that mentorship is a cycle and it has 3 distinct steps. So when he got involved with me, he identified, when I stepped up and said, I'd like you to mentor me, he identified that I was a person in transition. So when you're thinking, like, who do I pick to mentor? Pick someone who is in transition and they lack some knowledge that you have. So you identify that person. Usually you mentor people that are moving up. And you identify what it is they don't know that you can teach them. In this case, Mr. Marcus wanted to talk to me about management style and customer relationship management. For those of you in retail, you know that Niemann Marcus really innovated CRM at many levels, starting with the note cards in the shoebox where they remembered the customer's preferences. So he shared that with me. But he also listened to me and he engaged me on a specific curriculum where we had exactly 10 mentorship lunches, Turtle Group Mansion. And he empowered me through those because dessert was always about me telling him something. I'll never forget, he would always order dessert. The minute the cake showed up, he'd say, okay, Tim, tell me something I don't know about the internet. And I would go on and on about information intermediaries. I talk about e-commerce at the time, etc. And he would always smile and sometimes even take notes. And it was that back and forth exchange that caused me to believe to my toes every single thing he told me and to anticipate the next meeting and to push myself to learn something to impress Mr. Marcus on the next lunch. He explained to me that if you treat the mentorship cycle as a two-way street based on identification and engagement and empowerment, he said you will never get dumber by making someone else smarter. Because the mentorship process, especially with those in transition, will lead you to get validation of core principles that you believe in. The stuff you read in books brought to life in the real world. The last thing he taught me, though, is that every mentor should declare a graduation date for the mentee, or otherwise the mentee gets stuck on this endless loop of being taught. And in the case of our 10th and final one, she explained to me, this is the end of our curriculum. Now go out and find someone, not just now, but for the rest of your career, to do the same. And it's something I've been doing for years now since I learned this from him. The final idea I just want to share from Mr. Marcus to you is this. Time management is probably our greatest challenge. How do we find a way to get more done with less time? This is especially true because many of you, I talked to some of you last night, you say you're doing a lot more with a lot less resources. Sound familiar? Mr. Marcus said that the way that he dealt with time management through every recession was mentorship. Follow me on this one. He explains that when there's a recession, luxury brands like Niemann Marcus Retail, they get hit first. And times get tough, and you got to cut back, and you have less associates, and you start to panic, and you have this scarcity of time. And he says it will paralyze you, so all you do is survive, and you stop thinking. He said, so what he learned to do was to invest time when he thought he didn't have any in mentorship. So he said that his automatic response to a recession and cutbacks was to double or triple the number of people that he mentored. And I was very confused. I said, you're using more time. You're not finding a way to save time. And he said, Tim, here's the issue. Time management isn't about tips or techniques. It's about valuing time. The reason we waste time is that we don't value it. We only value it when we feel like we're behind. He said, when I mentored people, it was so rewarding to me. And I got so much powerful insight through the process. And it made me feel so much better about the future. He said I would get back to the office and cancel 2 stupid meetings and 1 trip I never should take. He said, because when you invest your time into helping other people grow, it makes time so precious to you, you find your way to have enough time to go around. So that's what I want to leave with you today. I've given you my email address several times. I'm happy to send you the book list, the book on social media, to answer any of your questions based on today's presentation. And once again, I'd like to thank my friends in Career Builder for having me. Have a great conference.